Welcome back to PTI. Pardon the idiocy. I know you've been patiently waiting all this time for Mia, for Theo. They are last, but believe me, they are certainly not least. And we got a hot topic talking about Major League Baseball. Is the season too long? We know ratings are down. Let's hear what people have to say. Mia, why don't you start?
Thank you, Paula, for that introduction. So, as you know, an MLB season currently sits at 162 games since it made that transition to the format in 1962. So while that schedule may be now considered the norm, I don't think it's cracked up to what it used to be. So Jeff Hassan of Bleacher Report has reported that the average MLB crowds in recent years have been dropping by thousands, even 10% in one season, which frankly I think is an enormous number and can't be overlooked. So I'd like to start by talking about the decline in both viewership and attendance. So in the late 20th centuries, 20% of Americans had tuned into the World Series at one point. But now in 2020, that number was just 3% of American citizens. And not to mention just viewership, but attendance also in person has been on the decline. And you can often see empty grandstands at every game you go to. Switching a little bit, even a prominent MLB player, Anthony Rizzo, stated to ESPN, "I think, quote, we play too much baseball. In a perfect world, we'd start the season later and play a few scheduled doubleheaders going into an off day." What Rizzo is talking about is something Bleacher Report has also reported on. Rainouts in March have been hitting new records, so starting the season just a few weeks deeper in spring would make these rainouts less likely, not to mention in-school and in-work fans who may not be in attendance.
All right, Mia, what do you think, Theo? Is the season too long?
No, I do not, and here's why. It actually has to do with the stats. I actually think it's great for the players' stats to stick with the 162 games, because when we think about it, when it comes to the elite athletes in each sport, in the sport of baseball, they are often the most criticized when they underperform, and that is because hits in baseball are harder to come by than, say, touchdowns in football or points in basketball and things to that nature. When you think about it, that is why we need more games. A good hitter needs to get 3 hits in 10 plate appearances. You cannot achieve that if you lessen the amount of games. There's also the mathematics of the schedule. If I take a look right here, they tried 17 games against 9 different opponents. So 2 teams, 9 opponents, they play each other 17 times. That didn't work because it's an odd number of games. That's part of why they have this current schedule. And a third reason I'll give, with respect to the facts that ratings are down, I understand that. I actually think part of why that is because of lockouts. The final reason is because of the mental resilience it takes. You have to play a lot of games in order to keep that mental resilience up if you're a baseball player, because it is a no-contact sport and it's slower than other sports.
Wow, a lot of passion with this one. Mia, what do you think? Quick rebuttal.
Theo, I'm really grateful you brought up the players because I'd like to talk about that. How valuable is your amazing hitter if he can't make the playoffs due to injury? Just losing 12, 10, 8 games a season would give players 27 off days on average, meaning they earn 1 off day per week instead of the current 1 off day per 10 days. That's going to become a big deal when you get down the stretch in the playoffs, when injuries start catching up and your most important players are out. Not to mention that the playoffs have already expanded from 10 to 12 games.
Sorry, we got to go to our rebuttal.
Well, no. I absolutely appreciate what Mia just said. But let me say something about injuries. And I am in no way saying that injuries are a good thing. No, my thoughts and prayers are always with players who get injured. But it's actually interesting, when other players end up getting some chances at the plate, pitching and fielding and things to that nature. Because I always say this when it comes to matchups: one man's injury, another man's opportunity. That's something I look forward to when it comes to sports. I think that is included in baseball. I'll just save it at that. Thank you.
All right, let's hear what Uncle Walt has to say. Yep. We got a winner, Theo. Get off my stage. Bye. Thank you all for joining us on the. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you all for joining us here in the Cronkite News. PTI, pardon the idiocy. Parents, thank you for watching. Thanks for tolerating this. We love your kids, and they are being well behaved. Have a great day.